Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anton Paar at our user talk. Today I'm here with Lars Baethcke, Master Distiller at Distillery Birkenhof. Where are you guys? We're in the Westerwald region, geographically like the Americans, between Cologne and Frankfurt, northern Rhineland-Palatinate. I see, thank you. If I could just jump very briefly to the professional side here. If I can just quickly introduce Anton Paar. We develop, produce, and sell our measuring instruments, our technology. We supply you with know-how and services, help you produce beer, soft drinks, non-alcoholic beverages, and spirits. We were established in 1922 by Anton Paar. Today, we have 3,300 employees worldwide. At our headquarters in Graz, we've got just over 1,200, 1,300 I think. We are in Styria, a Styrian company. Our user talk today is intended to bring you closer to our customers, to inform you about their products, their companies, what they are doing, and how they are doing it. We want to increase your knowledge of quality and measuring technology, to have the opportunity to chat a little with our speakers, make new contacts, and so on. And of course, participate in the raffle. There's a plastic box on top. Please throw your ticket in it. There is a form to complete, which you can receive from our colleague. Please complete it. Only one per user talk, per raffle. There's an easy dens. I do not have one to show you. It's in the box. It is a portable density measuring instrument that you can also use to measure spirits. Thank you. Service looks like this. Less consumed, but that's how it looks. So, and you may be recorded. So much for data protection. Lars, hello. Hello. Please tell us about the distillery, where it is. How did you become a master distiller? The distillery I work for, Distillery Birkenhof, in Westerwald, is, geographically speaking, in northern Rhineland-Palatinate. It is a medium-sized company with 25 employees. We make various spirits. Traditionally, we have been a schnapps distillery. We were born in agriculture and were a farm that bred livestock and cultivated crops. Then we began to become a schnapps distillery. The company was founded in 1848. One day we took a huge leap and extended the product line to include fruit brandies and liqueurs. We have been making whiskey since 2002. We have quite a broad product line. How did I get into the profession? It was a coincidence in my case. I was headed in another direction. I wanted to, did, study chemistry. And stumbled upon the fact that they were looking for a trainee to be a distiller. Spirits were always something that fascinated me. You always hear legendary stories about the burning of alcohol. I went there and introduced myself. There was great chemistry between me and the management. Then I got my training as a distiller. And last year I continued training to become a master distiller. I'm very happy there. Thank you. We had brewers and maltsters in the last user talk. From Dortmund. How is the training to become a distiller and master? I listened briefly when my predecessor was on. Distillers all go to the same school in Dortmund. It's the only school in Germany where distillers are trained. Austrians and South Tyroleans are also sent there. Usually there is only one class. The profession is relatively rare. It's usually one class with about 10 to 20 people. In recent years, more people are enrolling, however. Companies like to train their own successors. Training lasts 3 years, with block lessons. There is school in Dortmund twice a year, together with brewers. It is quite pleasant, a very relaxed atmosphere. After 3 years, you are a distiller. If you have work experience, you can continue training to become a master distiller. You get a high qualification as master craftsman in industry. You go to the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, take the courses, and become qualified. This takes place in Berlin at the VLB Institute for the Brewing Industry. After 2 years, you are a master distiller if you pass the courses. Thank you. Interesting. You can make schnapps and fruit brandies. Whisky. What is the difference for people who don't understand? What is your preference? What is more fun? Traditionally, we have been a schnapps distillery. We're still producing schnapps, but schnapps has declined sharply in recent years. Some are now trying to spice up their image. As schnapps was produced in Germany, it is a highly rectified spirit with a soft aroma. The taste is relatively flat, which may be why it is no longer so hyped. The schnapps distillers fell asleep at the wheel and lost touch with the market. That's why many Germans in recent years have moved into the whiskey business and make whiskey. The classic difference is, a whiskey must be processed with malt. The starch must be saccharified with malt amylases. That's the difference from schnapps. That's not required with schnapps. Except for the alcohol content, which is 40% for whiskey and 32% for schnapps. This wooden barrel storage could be used for schnapps too. There are manufacturers in Germany that use wooden barrels for schnapps. Whiskey must be stored for 3 years by law, with the distillate absorbing the aromatic substances from the wood. Tannins. That is the classic difference. Fruit brandies are very clear. The fructose is fermented and then distilled off. Then you get it, a distillate, with 80% runs from the still and is then combined with water to reduce it to 40% for drinking strength. These are specialities in Germany. You can produce a high-quality brandy from almost all types of fruit. Do you use the same yeast or different? Does yeast matter, as with beer? I am asking not as a distiller. That is a philosophical matter. In the end, there are special yeasts that are bred for it. Sugars from fruit metabolize. Of course, there are also yeasts that are tailored to malt or grain products. It's a matter of conditions. There may also be distillers using baker's yeast to metabolize the products. But we use special yeast. Thank you. What does it take to make a good schnapps, good whiskey, a good brandy? What do you need? Good raw materials. We often have customers approach us because they are trying to distill with a fruit mash or want to make a fruit wine. Nothing will come of that. They think that something went wrong with the fermentation. We distill it, and then you can still make a good schnapps out of it. That is a misconception. If the raw materials are bad, this can only be somewhat improved during distillation. First and foremost, you need passion, then a little talent for it. You have to desire it. Of course, hygiene also plays an important role, as it does with brewing beer. You have to make sure that the facilities are clean. It is also necessary to work cleanly and have fun. Then you can produce a good distillation. You've won many awards in recent years. What awards have you and the company won? We are always at the awards. We are always glad to provide our products for tastings, to see where do we stand, how good are our products, what are our competitors doing. There's a Noble Distillation Award conferred by the Chamber of Agriculture in Rhineland-Palatinate. That is a major Noble Distillation Award, where hundreds of products are evaluated by a sensory-trained taster jury. We have always been very successful here in recent years. In 2015, 2016, 2017, we received the state honorary prize in each case. In 2015, the German Agricultural Society, DLG, conferred the federal honorary prize on us for many years of good work. At the DLG, we present our products and look around. How do our products stack up on the market? In 2015, we had, in the gin category, at the DLG, we had the best gin of all participants in the gin, London gin category. That is impressive for a distillery as small as ours. I believe you. What effect does that have? Have you seen something? More awards, more profit, more demand? You can tell that consumers pay attention to it and notice when a bottle is given these awards. You can tell. Consumers regard it and buy things where they have the feeling that a high-quality product is being sold. That can be seen. Up to now, we have been talking about the products, but when we talk about the market, what has been happening on the liquor market? You increasingly see whiskey in Germany and Austria. It's not just Scotland, Ireland, the US, and Canada anymore. How is the market changing? Where's all this going? That's right. Whiskey's become more popular in Germany over the last few years. Many distilleries have started to make whiskey. It always takes some time until you have a product on the market. There are many artisan distilleries working with breweries. They get worts from the breweries of their choice and distill their spirit from them, storing the liquor in oak barrels and marketing it as whiskey. The gin hype has been very strong in Germany for several years. Gin is on everyone's lips because it is a great drink that had disappeared in the last few decades. Gin and tonic in summer is actually a classic. People like to order it at every bar. In Germany, there are many producers that have jumped on the bandwagon since it is relatively easy to produce gin. You don't need a customs-controlled distillery. You always have customs on your back because we make brandy. Very devilish stuff. Every drop we make is manufactured under customs control, and we are monitored by customs. When you make gin, you flavor alcohol. You don't need any customs-controlled systems, and you don't need the expense of customs. That's why so many who, of course, have joined this gin hype are making a very easy-to-produce spirit. And the focus in the years ahead is moving in the direction of rum that was produced in Germany. Do we have anything else lying in the barrel? Molasses that will be fermented and mixed in. Rum is going to be a major topic at German distilleries in the years ahead, if you ask me. Brandy is enjoying something of a second life. Yes. You hear that a lot. Cocktails are becoming more popular. Beer consumption is going down. More cocktails are being made. Can you see that in your sales numbers? We have already explored the cocktail topic and are partnering with innovative bartenders as well. They are wild young innovators running a bar. The bartenders, who always have ideas, often take different approaches. We have a team from Cologne that runs a bar. We are in good contact with them, and they often visit us in the distillery. It is always nice to sit at a table with them. They're always looking ahead. We show them our products, and they have an idea in mind. What can you make out of that? This is the reason why we also develop very different new ideas and alternative approaches. That's the topic. The bar scene is an interesting story for us because great stuff comes out of it, stuff we can work with in the future. Very interesting. Thank you. What is important for you during production when it comes to control? What production steps are the most sensitive and have to be watched? And how do you back them up? What success have you seen as a result of the awards? Control from the beginning of the fermentation process. Control begins with the raw materials. If we want to make reference to Anton Paar, we use oscillating U-tubes from Anton Paar for the measurement of the alcohol content. That's immensely important in our area. It ensures that the labeling is right, the declaration, because we must be in compliance with the law. Secondly, the topic of customs is very important, the tax on brandy. A tax of €13.03, 25 Deutschmarks in the past, is levied on 1 pure liter of alcohol. It is in our interest to have the values that we state match the information and the measurements. Otherwise, we would be giving money away. At the end of the year, the custom official is at the doorstep and says, "Where'd your alcohol go?" That's why we are oscillating U-tubes from Anton Paar to measure the alcohol content. Thank you. Are there any other measurements or systems that you use for quality control? In the area of liquor, the sensor technology is a great measuring instrument. It all begins with our nose here. When we get the delivery of the raw materials, our nose, the taste, are decisive. The taster panel decides on the finished product. Is the product the same as always? We want to produce the high-quality products that the customer expects. People cannot be replaced by sensors in the production chain. Thank you. May we ask questions? Thank you. Does the audience have any questions about the distillery, whiskey, production? I'd like to know where the difference between schnapps and whiskey is in production, besides in storage. The criterion that makes a whiskey different from a schnapps is that the malt is processed in the making of whiskey. Malt amylases must saccharify the starch. This is not the case with schnapps. It can also be processed with technical enzymes. The minimum alcohol content is different there. It must be at least 40% for whiskey. Schnapps starts at 32%. Then the barrel storage is crucial. For whiskey, it is 3 years under EU law. With schnapps, there is no prescribed storage period. the alcohol content limit. Schnapps is a highly rectified liquor. People say that it is often cleaned. The alcohol content is already at 96%. Then you have weakened the sensory properties. Whiskey has an alcohol content limit that is significantly lower. The aim is to get more aroma in the area of whiskey. Question answered? Thank you. There was another question. When it comes to whiskey, it is always said, in what barrels do you store your whiskey or let it age? That is not anchored in EU law. The Scots only use oak barrels. In Germany, they must be wooden barrels. The size is regulated, less than 700 liters, because the surface ratio contributes more to washing out the barrel. Oak barrels are usually used. Some people are experimenting with chestnut barrels. It is very popular to work with used barrels, with ex-bourbon barrels, which are taken from the US, because the Americans always had the law, although in the meantime there have been minor changes, that they had to use a fresh oak barrel every time. They had to keep it in there for 2 years, and then the barrels were not allowed to be filled again. Then the Scots came up with an idea and bought the barrels because they provided great flavor for a long period of storage, 10 years. The barrels, the ex-bourbon barrels, were gladly taken there. They are 200 liters in size. It is also very popular in the higher-priced segment to work with old sherry barrels from Spain, where the sherry was in them before. When you put a distillate in them, it acts like a strong solvent. You put 65% in the barrel. Alcohol is a good solvent and absorbs the aroma that was previously in the barrel. There are almost no limits to the fun experimenters can have. I've heard that there is a whiskey on the market that has matured in Tabasco barrels, where Tabasco was in them before. There are all kinds of approaches. Ex-bourbon barrels are very common, as are American white oak or sherry barrels. Have I answered the question? Are there any more questions? I have one more question. Why is the mash fermented, not the wort? In the brewery, you separate them. Is the mash fermented with schnapps and whiskey? With whiskey, it isn't regulated whether the mash or the wort is fermented. There are different approaches. We work in a way that we can only ferment worts in the whiskey area. Because the alcohol is not purified to such a high degree, the wort becomes even more aromatic afterwards, in my opinion. The aromas are finer. If you ferment the entire mash, you have a herbaceous touch in it. There are different approaches, as it is not regulated by law. There are distilleries that ferment a complete mash, even some that get worts from breweries. The decisions involved in making a recipe are a completely philosophical matter. Thank you. I have been asking myself that for some time. I found it very interesting. Thank you, Lars. The moment we've all been waiting for. The raffle is about to start. We will be raffling an Easy Dens. That is a portable density meter from Anton Paar. 1 minute. A card must still be thrown in. The Easy Dens lets you measure the sugar content of juices, the extract content of worts, the alcohol content of distillates, and is usually available online. We had another question? Do you also distill beer? We also distill beer. We also have major customers who have us distill their beer for them. I think I can tell you that. We handle the beer distillation for Krombacher Brewery, which is not really around the corner for us. We make 3 types for a Kolsch brewery in Reisdorf. 2 variations aged in a wooden barrel, 1 from a port wine barrel, 1 from a bourbon barrel, and 1 unstored variation. We also sell distilled beer. For example, we have a Wheatbock beer distillation that ages in a wooden barrel. That is my favorite in this area. It has great aromas. We are working with Kuchelbauer Brewery on that. We have distilled beer for a Wheatbock on behalf of a few regional small breweries that are around the corner from us. They also send us their worts to produce whiskey according to their specifications. We have been distilling beer for some time. Where can the products be purchased? Online. We have a 200-kilometer distribution network. We are a small producer. We make 150,000 liters of pure alcohol per year, which is what the distiller always talks about. It's relatively straightforward. We have a well-functioning online shop. Birkenhof Distillery is known nationwide. Do you also deliver to Austria? We also deliver to Austria. Now we're going to the raffle. Please mix up the tickets. We need to give away our Easy Dens prize. Several attempts will be made. Now we will only draw once. And Lars, you may draw the winner. But please don't look. So, everything is all mixed? We're about to lose something. So, off. Lars, please close your eyes. Drum roll. And the winner is, please read aloud, Andre Lange. Andre Lange, step forward, please. Congratulations. I have to get my friend Hannes, who can tell more about the history, where it belongs, where it is used.
Okay, wo kommt es hin? In die Nähe von Schleswig. Ich habe da eine kleine Brauerei und passt genau da rein. Genau das, was ich brauche.
Is that where distillates are also made? Just beer. I'm sorry.
Alles klar, dann
I congratulate you. Congratulations. You got it. Lars, many thanks. If there are any more questions, you can come to our colleagues and ask them. We'll take a picture. If you have questions, you don't have to say them into the microphone.
Dankeschön.